Hey guys, this is Chandra, and I'm here to do the tutorial on the pages of this mini album that I just showed a couple days ago. It has 2 paper bags and 2 envelopes. So we're going to do the large paper bag first, and I'll give you the measurements of everything that you need. You need a piece that measures 9 by 2.5, piece that measures 4.5 by 7 3/4. You need 2 pieces that measure 8 by 4 1/4, 1 piece that measures 8 by 9, 1 piece that measures 7 7/8 by 11, and 2 pieces that measure 8 3/8 by 4 1/4. And with these paper bags and envelopes and stuff, you're going to get odd number, you know, like the 8 3/8 and 7 7/8. It's just because the way the bag is, okay? And then you're going to need a bag. Now this is the Recollections large bag that you can get at Michael's. It's in the party supply stuff, okay? So the bag originally is about 8 7/8 inches long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down to 8. So I'm just lining up the bottom of the bag with the 8-inch mark. And I'm going to cut off 7/8 of an inch, okay? So that is the only cutting that we're going to do on the bag. Now I'm going to get out my scoreboard and I'm going to do all my score marks at the same time, okay? So let's try to do them in order that I gave them to you. The 9 by 2.5, we're going to put it in so that the 9-inch side is at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 8.5. I'm going to rotate it so that the 2.5 inch side is at the top, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. The next one is the 4.5 by 7 3/4, and this is not going to be scored. This is what we're going to stick on the inside of the bag. The 2 pieces that measure 5 1/4 by 8 or 8 by 5 1/4, I'm going to stick it in so that the 5 1/4 inch side is at the top, and I'm going to score 1/2 inch. I'm going to do that to both pieces. So I'm going to score on the short side. So the 5 1/4 inch side is at the top. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. The next piece is the ones that measure 8 3/8 by 4 1/4. I'm going to stick it in so that the 4 1/4 inch side is at the top. No, I'm going to stick it in so that the 8 3/4 is at the top, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on both of those. So the 8 3/8 inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. I wrote down the wrong measurements. Good thing I'm thinking today. So the 7 7/8 by 11, we're going to score at, on the 11-inch side, at 4 1/4 and 8.5. And the last one is the one that measures 8 by 9. We're going to stick it in so that the 9-inch side is at the top of our scoreboard, and we're going to score at 4.5. I'm going to move my scoreboard now. And now I'm just going to fold. This is the 8 by 9, and I'm just going to fold that in half. And this is going to be one of our inserts, so you can decorate these however you like. The second piece we're going to mess with is the 7 7/8 by 11, and I'm going to fold on my score marks that we just made. I'm folding the large half up and then the smaller half down. Now I'm going to unfold it. The 2 pieces that measure 8 3/8 by 4 1/4, we scored on the 8 3/8 inch side at 1/2 inch. I'm going to fold on those 1/2 inch marks. Now when you're making a mini album, you want to use a strong adhesive when you're putting the papers together. So you want to use wet glue, the red line tape, score tape, terrific tape, tear it tacky tape, tape. That's really strong, okay? But for this demonstration purposes, as I usually do, I'm going to use my ATG. But you don't want to, I don't think this is strong enough to adhere your pages and then have it be stuck forever. So I apply the tape on my 1/2 inch flap. Now I'm going to cut this at a diagonal, like when you miter a wood to put them together, like for your door jambs. That's what you're doing here. You're going to miter these 2 corners on both pieces. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my flap down. So now this 1/2 inch flap is facing down and the sticky side is facing down. And I'm just going to put it on the left side of my page here. And I'm going to line it up and make sure that it's in between the score marks, because we still want the top and the bottoms to fold. If for some reason you cut crooked like I always do, or if you score crooked, you can put it where you need it to be and then try to score it again so that it's straight. So now I'm going to open up this flap and I'm going to do the exact same thing to this right hand side flap. I'm folding my 1/2 inch flap down, and now I'm going to line it up and I'm going to place it down. So if anything gets in the way, you can chomp it off, refold, reburnish, whatever you need to do to make everything straight. So, you know, looks like I'm going to have to cut off a little bit off of this edge here, but it's not going to happen because I'm going to throw this away when I'm done. I thought about doing a giveaway for like the mini albums that I make in my tutorial, but that would cost me a buttload in shipping. So, alright, so this is the second insert that you have. So here's the large. This is the first insert that we made. That's just like a card. And the one that we just got done making is the second insert. So you can choose to put pockets here if you want, but I think it would add too much bulk to it, so that's why I chose not to do that. Now we're going to mess with the paper bag itself. So we have our paper bag that we cut down to 8 inches, and this is the bottom of the bag, and it comes open like this. So all I'm going to do is fold it down. This part here is where I put my hinge, and I used the normal hidden hinge binding that I have on my channel. I didn't create it. I don't know who did. We won't get into that, but I'll put a link to the tutorial that I have done down below. So we have these two pieces that measure 8 by 5 1/4 that we scored on the 5 1/4 inch side, and I'm going to fold on both of those flaps here. Now I'm going to unfold. I'm going to apply tape on this 1/2 inch flap here. On both pieces. And then I'm going to miter the corners on the 1/2 inch flap. So now I have this 1/2 inch flap. I'm going to face it down so the stickiness is down, and I'm going to line it up on the top of my bag. And this is going to be a pocket here. On mine, I put a pocket on the front and the back, so that's what I'm going to do here. But if you want, you can leave the pocket on the front and put the second pocket on the bottom if you want. Or you can put one pocket on top, or one flap, I should say, on top of each other so that it opens up multiple ways. It's completely up to you. So now I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to apply this flap to the back side, just like we normally do, like I've already showed in this tutorial. So now I'm going to open this up, and I did make a pocket for this page in case you want a pocket. I did not have a pocket in my original video, but I wanted to give you the options. This is the 9 by 2.5 piece that we scored 1/2 inch on the two short sides and 1/2 inch on the long side to create the pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply tape on all these 1/2 inch pieces. I got a piece of score tape stuck here. There we go. It's driving me nuts. Everything's sticking on it. So I'm going to apply tape, and then I'm going to cut out these squares. You see this square that's formed right there? See those marks that I made with the pencil? This one you can't really see too well. There we go. I'm going to cut those off, and I do this on all the pockets so that it doesn't create too much bulk in your pocket. So again, I'm cutting at a diagonal. Okay, I do that to all the pockets. So now I'm going to fold my two sides down and my long flap up, and this is going to create the pocket. So I'm just going to place that on the bottom of the bag, and that is a pocket. Now this piece that we don't have any score marks on, I'm going to apply tape just along the perimeter, the top and the bottom, I guess that's not the perimeter, of this. And I'm going to stick it in the bag. You don't need to do this. This is not really necessary. I just wanted to kind of divide the bag. When you open up, I'll open up the bag. So here's the bag open. When you have the bag partway open, you have these little gussets here on the bag, and I wanted to create two halves to the bag, if you will, two pockets on the inside of the bag. So I wanted this to be a pocket and this to be a pocket. So what I've done is I've just have the tape on there, and now I'm just going to slide this in, and I'm going to make sure that it's above the flap here, and then I'm just going to press down. Now what I also did was I took some glue and I put it right here. Here's the fold in the bag here where my finger is. I just put glue there so that this stays closed, so it'll be like this the whole time. It's kind of hard to show the inside of the bag on here, but hopefully you get what I'm talking about. So I would apply glue on this flap where those pencil marks are. So right here and right here, and then close the bag so that it creates a little side. You want to be careful that you don't glue your bag shut like I thought I did. So this little insert, the one that we just folded in half, would go in that top section because that would be the smaller section if you glued those down. And then the bigger insert that you made would go on the bottom because it's going to, the gusset's going to be a little bit bigger, and that's how you make the large album. And again, you would just stick your hinge inside here. It's simple. That's just how I made it. Okay, so now we're going to do the small bag. Okay. So again, this is a recollections bag. They have two different sizes. They have the large size that we just did, and then they have this smaller size. And this bag is actually really thick. I like the thickness of that bag. So you need a piece that measures 7.5 by 2 1/4, and you need two pieces that measure 4 by 6.5, and you need one piece that measures 9 3/4 by 6.5. So the 9 3/4 by 6.5 piece, I'm going to stick it in the scoreboard so that the 9 3/4 is at the top, and I'm going to score at 3 1/4 and 6.5. The two pieces that measure 4 by 6.5, we're going to stick it in on the scoreboard so that the 4-inch side is at the top, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. You're going to do that to both pieces. These are the flaps. Now you need a piece that measures 7.5 by 2 1/4. On the 7.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 7, and then at the 2 1/4 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And again, I did not have a pocket on this small envelope or the small bag, but I made one for the tutorial in case you want to use it. So this bag originally measures like 6 3/4 inches, but I wanted it to be 6.5. So I'm just going to cut the bag. I think I did. Yeah, so I'm going to cut the bag down to 6.5 inches. So basically you're cutting like a 1/4 inch off, just because you want to get that, what is it called? The scalloped edge off? Pinking shears? I don't know what I'm thinking. So again, the same with this bag. The bottom of the bag, I'm going to fold it on itself. And it's going to create that, and I would put my hinge here. So now I'm going to take my 6.5 by 4 inch pieces that we scored at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to fold on the score mark, and then I'm going to apply adhesive on the 1/2 inch flap. I'm going to miter the corners on the flap. Now again, this is like your preference. On the mini album that I made, I had a flap on each side. You can put them both on the same sides. You can put one flap on the top like this. You can put one flap on the bottom, or you can put one flap on the front and then put the other flap. Here's the 1/2 inch. Put it down, and you can put it here so that you open up this and then you would open up that to create the flap. It's completely up to you. I'm going to stick with the way I did the original album, and I'm going to stick the flap on the back of the page. Now this piece is extra. It was not in the original walkthrough. This is a pocket, and it's the 7.5 by 2 1/4. So just like we did with the last pocket, I'm going to fold on my score marks. I'm going to unfold it, and I'm going to apply tape to those 1/2 inch marks. Now I'm going to cut that little square out, just like we did before. And again, this is just reducing the bulk. So this pocket that we just made can go on the front flap, or it can go on the bag itself. I'm going to put it on the bag. You don't have to, so you can put it wherever you want. And you see, this is why you don't want to use ATG, because it's just going to pop right up. The last thing with the bag is the piece that measures 9 3/4 by 6 1/2, and this is the Z fold insert mat thing that I put on the inside. So I folded one forward and one back, so it creates the Z. So, and that goes just inside. And those are the 2 bags. Stay tuned for the next video on where I'll show you how to make the envelopes. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.